Welcome on in to 19 on the Clock, your Tri-State High School and College Sports podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pushkar. Joining me as always is my co-host, Jackson McCarty. Jackson, how are we doing today?
I'm doing swell, Brad.
Yes.
How are you doing? Yeah.
I'm doing lovely. We're getting closer and closer to the return of athletics, whether it be high school or college. So that way, then we can stop just talking about the most random things that are going on in between. But as we've been doing with the NFL and the NBA and things like that, the MLB draft just wrapped up. So we've got a couple of college guys that are moving on from there. Yep. We talked about the Big 12 media days last week. SEC media days are underway. And there's a couple things that I wanted to bring up and present to you and get your thoughts on. And I'll share mine as well about some rule changes that they announced.
Yeah.
As the coaches continue to talk on air, and
which I honestly have not heard yet.
Yes.
So you'll get my raw reaction to that.
We'll get a raw reaction, and
there's no prep work.
Yes, exactly. And my teaser is that it involves that at some point I will reference Shane Beamer and I will reference Lane Kiffin. And so
they're on my Mount Rushmore of favorite SEC coaches right now.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you've got.
Just in case you're wondering.
And you've got some Kentucky football previews for us as well.
Yes. So basically, how we're starting our football season preview situation early. Right now, I will beforehand announce that we are going to hold off on Indiana because East Central and Lawrenceburg are playing each other. So in week one. So that will serve as kind of our Indiana focus and the preview. Going to start with Kentucky this week and then roll into all the Ohio conferences next week. So
love that.
Yeah, we're setting up pretty good. And we've got 4 teams to talk about in Kentucky. But before we get to all that, we do want to talk about the baseball prospects that are making their dreams happen at the next level.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of go down a few of the schools that are local who were able to get some picks. So Cincinnati. A name that I'm sure you're going to be unsurprised. Carrington Cross was picked up by the Padres. Landon Viduric is picked by the Dodgers in the 3rd round. Pretty big. He's an outfielder. I got to get over to Miami next, which includes Hayden Cuthbertson.
Okay.
He is going to the Marlins, a pitcher. And then also it was announced that Rylan Zaborowski is headed to the Angels as an undrafted free agent, which Sam Bachman and Peyton Olenek are also former Red Hawks in the Angels organization.
They're making it easy on you with the last names.
Always. And so that covers a lot of the Ohio schools, Miami and Cincinnati. Xavier had a few players enter into the draft but were not picked. On the Kentucky side of things, there is a Northern Kentucky player who is going. Caden Eekman is a pitcher who is picked up by the Cardinals. And then in Lexington, Ethan Walker, a pitcher for the Wildcats, was picked up by the Red Sox. And then the last one I was going to kind of mention was Louisville. Just because they had so many, there were 6 draft picks coming out of Louisville for the Cardinals.
God bless.
Patrick Forbes was a pitcher. He was ranked 31st in the whole class. He was picked number 29 in the 1st round. Matt Klein was ranked 224. He is a catcher going to the Rockies in the 6th round. Jake Monroe was a 4th round pick going to the Angels. Tucker Biven going to the Nationals, Eddie King Jr. to the Pirates, and Justin West to the New York Yankees. And so there's, it's one of those, as I've always said, the MLB is weird compared to like the NBA or the NFL in a way because you're picking players to kind of stick into the minor league to start.
Yeah,
so,
and all of them.
Yeah.
You're not sending anybody to the majors. It's all G League guys.
Yes. You may get one guy where it's we're going to just stick him in there right now because we have this awful setup going into the next year or whatever. But, yeah.
It's exceedingly rare. It's one of those, I know the Angels have a tendency to get kids through their system pretty quick, but even still they'll be a couple months in high A to double to triple.
Yeah.
But by the end of the year. But yeah, it is weird. You're right, because like it also kind of unfortunately does take a little bit of the wind out of the draft. Like I think the Major League Baseball draft could be very popular, but there's just you see a kid go in the first round and you don't know that you're going to see him for 2 years.
Yes, and I think that you like when you think about Paul Skeens, Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah, he was up by the All-Star break, right? Skeens in his rookie year.
Skeens came out pretty fast with pitching. And Ellie was, I think, in for a year.
If even. It was pretty short.
Because I know it was basically they just put him into Louisville, gave him like 2 weeks, and then brought him up in. I one of the teams that I like to follow is the Seattle Mariners. And that comes from when I worked overnights where at 11 p.m. I'd be going into work with one other person, and I would watch Mariners games on my phone.
Because that's the only team that was playing that
because there was nobody else playing that night. Exactly. And I grew up loving Ken Griffey Jr. and
Ichiro,
carry that. Ichiro as well were my two like heroes in baseball. Backyard Baseball 2001. I picked them on every team.
Didn't the Apple game version of that just release?
They just released a modern version for phones and computers and stuff like that, which I did buy.
We'll have to get on that. We'll have to get on that.
Yes.
King Felix as well. Sorry if we're just talking about great marriage.
Yeah. I was going to keep listing guys I picked on that team, or in that game, but I'm glad. But yeah, so like I would watch Mariners games, and I remember when Julio Rodriguez was in his debut year for the Mariners. One of the old sports reporters that I worked with in West Lafayette had made a post about like on the All-Star game. Why have I not been hearing about this Julio Rodriguez kid? He's crushing the home run he's crushing things in the home run derby.
Fantastic.
And playing really well in the game and stuff like that. He's like, why am I not hearing about it? And I was like, because like I feel like outside of your New York and LA markets, the marketing doesn't get just doesn't stretch in the MLB like it kind of does in the NBA and the NFL.
You have to be transcendent. Like Cal Raleigh is being talked about because he's doing something transcendent.
Yes. Well, and especially he passed Griffey.
And I would still argue you really didn't hear about Cal Raleigh until like 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
And when people were like, "Wait a minute, this guy's going to have like 40 home runs by the break."
Yes, and it was like because I know I caught up with him on like a couple months ago where I was like, "Oh, big dumper! All right, we're gonna see what he keeps doing.
We're locked in."
And then his name, you stick it up there with Shohei and things like that, and you're just like, "Oh no, he's doing it." And then the last couple weeks, every single show and things like that has been talking about him.
And that's what Carrington Cross is going to do.
That's what Carrington Cross is going to do. That's what all of these players that I just listed off are going to do.
But for real, shout out to all the kids, not just within our region, but like that just got drafted, like that big time. That's so cool that you're going to have a chance to work your way up to the majors, and you've gotten to the hard, or I don't want to say you've gotten to the hard part, but you've gotten to the elite stage.
Yeah,
like one of 30 teams want you.
Yes. That is arguably the final cut in a way.
Yeah.
It's like you always talk about kids playing Little League. A quarter of them will stop before high school.
Yeah.
High school.
More than that.
Half to a quarter. Half of them are going to quit before going to college. College, that might be the end of the line, or whatever. So, it's really huge, and there's a noticeable expansion of guys coming out of high school going onto these teams, and also guys coming out of college getting picked up by these teams. And I think that's kind of a good sign in a way where they're not just trying to get the youngest guy to make the most out of his years, but getting guys who are experienced and have played college ball that they're now trying to translate into the pro game.
Yeah, and those are the guys that you can do that quick turnaround with.
Yes.
Like where it's like, oh, because this guy's 22 years old.
That's why Skeens came out so fast for the Pirates.
Yeah.
And then is doing incredible things, but doesn't have a team around it to do anything with.
I know we haven't on the podcast, but it was the social media posts that were like the 3 best pitchers in baseball are Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal, and then whoever the pitcher for the opposing team against Skeens is.
Yeah.
Because it's just shutouts for the Pirates. Sorry, we don't. I don't know how this turned into a Major League Baseball podcast.
I'll share that I did go to visit family in Pittsburgh over the weekend.
Oh, there you go.
For the long weekend, and I wore a Pirates hat, and some of them were like, "So what team do you root for?" I'm like, "Well, I'm a Reds fan." They're like, "You're wearing a Pirates hat right now." I'm like, "Well, one,
It's the NL Central.
I know where I am.
Yes.
And two, we're both struggling.
I will tell you.
The Reds are struggling less than the Pirates. But I don't feel bad kind of being like, you know what? The Pirates deserve a win every now and then. There's 162 games.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to win very many fans with that.
That's fine. I'm staunchly anti-Cardinal and anti-Cub.
Good.
But
as we all should be.
Yes, exactly. So you've seen me in this office. You know that I can camouflage what teams I root for.
We have been friends for like almost 2 years now. I had no idea who any of your teams were for like the vast majority of that. You wear more jerseys than Shaq. You know what I mean? Like you are decorated in every team.
There's a common thread, but you're right.
Yeah. There are some hints and some giveaways if you pay attention, but like it is more of a mystery.
And I keep everybody on their toes.
Absolutely,
which is always fun when I wear a random college and I get somebody who's like, "Oh yeah, go Yale." I was like, "Yeah, go Bulldogs." Yeah.
UCF's a fun one.
Yes.
You should get more UCF merch. Do you have UCF merch?
I have one shirt.
Same.
I have one UCF shirt.
We're dueling.
We're not, but we don't support UCF here. We're a UC family.
Oh, that's true. I
can't believe you'd say that
my
on
bad.
the podcast.
I went to school near UCF, and it was just kind of cool. And Orlando's dope, but we can be done.
But speaking of cool things in the South.
Yes. There you go.
SEC Media Days are going on.
Yeah. It just means more.
Where do you remember where they are?
Probably Atlanta, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because didn't they used to be in Alabama?
I think so, but they do everything in Atlanta now.
We're moving east. So some coaches have already gone up and talked. The one funny thing that I mentioned to you is that Steve Sarkisian, the head coach for the University of Texas, did have to walk out to give his remarks to the Texas A&M fight song, which was a very funny moment.
It's subliminal messaging that A&M's going to buy him out of his deal.
Yeah. I don't know if A&M has the money right now.
A&M's always got the money.
But
we got plenty of oil in the ground. They got money.
But so some things have already come out of it, as major announcements have come from the conference themselves. John McDade is the SEC coordinator for football officials, so he has a presentation every year, talk about officiating, what changes are coming for Saturdays. So do you want me to just go one by one of straight up to the rule, or do you want to hear the topics that are involved?
How many total rules are there?
3.
We can do the topics involved.
Okay. Substitutions.
Okay.
Kickoffs.
Okay.
Injuries.
And substitutions and injuries aren't related?
They are two different. They're related, but they're two different things.
Is the injury one within the final 2 minutes of the game?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't know why I'm playing Guess Who.
So let's just we'll just go
because they've got to fix, and this is across the board. But because Lane's done it, and he actively says that he does it. He's not hiding this. Where he will tell a guy to take a dive because he just has to set out a play. Just make him set out the drive.
So officially, timeouts will be charged for a fake injury.
There we go. Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, it's once the ball is spotted at the spot on the field for the succeeding snap, the ball is now ready for play. If a player goes down, that an official is forced to call an official's timeout for injury, that player's team is going to be charged a timeout.
Okay. I still think that you should just make that player sit out the drive.
I think that's fine. I think that's fair.
Because then at least if you don't take the timeouts, or you can keep your timeouts, not inherently mess with the jeopardy of the game, but then you're sacrificing players.
Because
you know what I mean?
that is my thing where I go, good change. My only concern is that there's going to be a time where
there's 0 timeouts.
Where there's 0 time. Well, that's fine. That's that's downs or whatever, and that's
a 10-second runoff, right?
It's some kind of something with it. Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be bad.
Because I would imagine it'd be the same as calling a timeout when you have no timeouts.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm saying, like, I just worry that there's going to be a time where a play, and I know this is a niche case, but a player takes a weird hit, lines up, and then, they take a step funny and their ACL tears. Or,
Right.
Something bad happens where they go down and they're either forced to play or they cause a detriment to their team, and then the fans react negatively to them.
I know there's a lot of times, like, we've seen it more in the NFL with quarterbacks. Because, like, Tua, for example, like, he's gotten up from a couple rough ones and, like, tried to get his way back to the line. That ball is spotted before they pull him.
Yes.
And so it's like, do you end up in, weird gray area where you're punishing the team for not noticing that this guy had a concussion within, like, 3 seconds?
Yeah. And I imagine, I think college game moves a little slower on things like that with setting the ball and all that, which makes me go, okay, maybe it's all right. But I think this will be like one of those like 90% good all the time, 10% cases where you're like, okay, well, crap, why do we make this change? Like, now this is hurting the players and
Right.
things like that.
The only thing I can think of is, like, because if it's not removing the player for the drive, coaches can just be like, hey, as soon as this ball ends, you need to be faking. Because then they can't call it on us if the ball's not spotted. But either way, they're trying, and that's what matters.
Yes. And so as I said at the start, the two coaches I was going to mention was Shane Beamer and Lane Kiffin.
Yes.
So you've gotten the Lane Kiffin.
Correct.
Both of the next rules are directly related to Shane Beamer.
Beamer balls getting targeted?
Actually, honestly, it's not necessarily that what Beamer is doing is being targeted. It's what Beamer has complained about is being targeted.
Ooh. Okay.
So do you remember when South Carolina played Illinois in the Citrus Bowl?
I do.
One of the big things that was happening in that was Brett Bielema, the coach for Illinois, basically slowing down the way that they did defensive substitutions.
I totally forgot about that.
Yep.
Because he was essentially bragging about it after it happened.
Yes, and this is specifically like, it's South Carolina's trying to play a high tempo offense. Illinois goes, hey, hold on, we gotta get set.
We gotta tie our shoes.
We're getting ready here.
Brett's got to get some water. Like, come on.
And so McDade said that they saw it at a high volume or a higher volume in the 2024 postseason. Defenses are starting to try to game how they're doing their matchup substitutions and trying to eat up play clock. So the direct quote is, they're adding the concept of the substitutions need to be done with an athletic pace. The standard has always been the defense must substitute promptly. That was the standard that we need to interpret for our judgment on what the defense is doing. We're adding now that they need to do it at an athletic pace. So to me, I guess it's like,
set a timer.
Run, give them a pitch clock.
Yeah.
Do the MLB move.
You have 6 seconds.
Or even 10 if
Yeah.
they're running across, the guy across the field or whatever. But, like, yeah. So as the offense declares their 11 on the field, defenses will be given 3 seconds to sub. The players entering and leaving the game must move with athletic pace to get lined up so the offense can snap the ball. Failure to comply will result in a penalty. And this
Or
is
just let them
from
snap it.
On3, I should mention as well.
I think because you could do 10 seconds, and if they're not lined up, offense can snap.
Yeah, I think the way that the way I read that is you have 3 seconds to make the decision. Are you going to make subs or not?
Right.
You go, okay. You go,
Yep.
or they know, which formation. They're going
what
out
the sets.
into. And then it's just kind of watching those guys. Are they running and getting set, or are they walking? Because that's going to be, I think that's where it'll be the issue.
Right.
Thing.
Just hall monitor.
Yes. And so the last one is again related to Bielema and Shane Beamer. And it is
Everyone must wear rec specs like Lenore Sellers.
No. But it is using a T-bar. Do you know what the T-bar is? It's if I'm not mistaken, it's like extending your arms out like this on a kickoff to let your teammates know that it's going to be a touchback.
Yeah.
Some teams are using it as a diversion.
Yes.
And so, and Beamer was kind of like, hey, if I'm not mistaken, it was basically that Illinois used it and then caught it and started returning it, where South Carolina was like, okay, well, we'll back off.
Right.
And so Beamer was kind of like, I don't want to like make it into a rule, but if you think the other team's going to stop running, or Beamer actually used it, is what I think.
I don't know.
Was, but it was basically that they motioned for it, got the other team to stop running, and then started their return. And it's like, oh well, now the defense has lost all momentum and things like that.
See, I don't like that one. I don't like that rule.
You don't?
Nope.
Okay.
Because it's not a Kenny Pickett fake slide situation. Because like that was like if you hit that quarterback on the fake slide, you're getting tossed.
Yeah. Well, see, and the fake slide is a thing where it's like, okay, the defense held up because he thought he was going to slide.
Yes.
And Pickett gets back up and goes.
But it's proximity here. Like on that touchback, the closest defender is 15 yards. If they're not running through it, especially on kickoffs,
that's fair.
I want distraction tactics. I want two guys in my end zone. One guy does a fake knee. The other guy catches it and just running down the right-hand sideline. Because kickoffs are inherently way difficult to make much happen on.
Okay.
Like there's a line of 11 dudes coming at you.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. And to me, I'm like, I don't know how often this is being used even.
But it's kind of like having to self-report your onsides. Like you can't try to pick up any success by being sneaky. Like no, you have to be buttoned up, and I think that takes some of the magic of football out.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I always think about like, because wasn't there one where it was like a kickoff and somebody motioned for a fair catch, but the ball wasn't even coming to them?
Yeah. There's been a handful of those, especially at the NFL, where it's like on punts too, where like somebody's like fake tracking it and somebody else on the other side of the field's got it and takes off.
Yeah.
And that's awesome because if they're not tracking it, if the defense isn't tracking it and they get baited, that is their problem.
Yeah, on one hand, I'm like, you know what? Player safety stuff, because if you don't do this, they just start running through every single T bar and taking out somebody, and like somebody's head's going to get knocked off type thing.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that it's like it's the same. It's to make another reference like to baseball with the shift when that got banned. I was like, don't limit what players can do.
No.
Or like ways to to make formations and things like that. Like it's almost like at that point like then you have to establish one person can be the receiver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like saying you can't lateral on a kickoff. Mm-hmm. How many people do it? Not many.
No.
But when it happens and when it works, that's the magic of football. We need to stop trying to ruining special teams.
Yes.
We're making
that's agreed.
The goalpost smaller. You can't hardly do anything on kickoffs. Like football has become a better sport to watch because the athletes are becoming more athletic over time.
Yes.
I think it's become an improved product. Special teams is like regressing bad because of all these. It's just touchbacks. There's no reason to take it out of the end zone at the rate we're moving.
Yeah, and touchbacks is such a thing where it's like it's changing how many yards you get, where it's more beneficial because you're probably not going to make it the 25 or 30 it is now.
25.
Yeah, is it NFL that moved it?
Everybody's 25 now.
Everybody's 25.
NFL used to be 20. They bumped to 25.
Okay.
And punt touchbacks are still 20 on both.
Okay. Yeah. And so I'm also I'll say this, I'm also kind of like it's just the SEC.
Yeah.
And that's kind of okay with me where
it is funny that Bielema being not in the SEC anymore is still causing SEC rule changes.
Yeah. Well, you play enough games. Hey, it's what they were saying, right? The Big Ten doesn't want the SEC smoke or something like that.
Correct.
And apparently, the SEC doesn't want the SEC smoke either.
Yeah, or the Big Ten smoke is Bielema will represent.
But yeah, so those are the big changes. We'll kind of see if anything else comes out. Mark Stoops is talking on Thursday. So I'm sure those recordings will either be up or as this episode's coming out, you'll be able to catch them live.
Do you think they fire him at the end of this year? Before we go to my side.
Stoops?
Yeah. I'd say yes.
Can I put in like a qualifier?
Yeah.
Sub 500 probably.
Is this Kentucky team built to be anything more than 500 or lower? mean,
7-5.
I'm not a Zach Calzada guy, and that's what's getting me.
That's fair
Because he's going to be their quarterback,
I mean,
I don't.
Yeah, you're not wrong that it doesn't look like. It's not like they're. I mean, they're not going to win the SEC this year.
No, like I think 5-7 is like a pretty all right year for this roster. Not for UK. Like UK should be a better football program than that, but I think where it's at currently, like 5-7 feels like what I would expect. And they already seemed like they were pretty close to firing him last year.
Okay. Losses. I'll make my quick prediction.
Yeah.
Prediction. Losses to Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Probably. But then they play Toledo, Eastern Michigan, and Tennessee Tech in their non-conference games.
Yeah. Non-factor. I don't think you even count those towards like his job.
Sure, but I think as long as you beat Toledo and Eastern Michigan,
yeah,
like you have some more leeway. They play South Carolina, Auburn, Florida, Vandy, and then Louisville. And
Auburn and Louisville are the only two I feel good about UK beating.
Who?
Auburn and Vandy, not Auburn and Louisville.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, I'm on Louisville's side.
Not
there.
Brom.
Because
like
Vandy
Lagway
is still up in the air. That may be another year. They still have Pavia.
But
I don't know what this Florida team looks like enough to be like, Florida's going to be great or Florida's going to be bad. But I think they're sitting in like some people would put them in like that 25-24 range.
If we did a Heisman episode where we predicted, if we took our Heisman shortlist,
okay,
DJ Lagway's on mine.
Okay.
Very, very worried. I think he's going to carry Billy Napier because I don't think Napier's that good a coach.
No.
But I think Lagway might get him a couple extra years of job security, kind of like Levis did for Stoops.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even though Levis wasn't even that good.
I mean, you could look at it also where, like, you get a commitment like Ponatoski.
Mm-hmm.
Does that give you a little bit more leeway? I don't know.
If he sticks to the next guy, I think obviously you're not going to each recruit and being like, hey, if we fire this guy, are you going to whatever?
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for Matt or anything like that either, but if I had just committed and then I find out that he's getting canned in this year, I'd kind of be like, well, I'm going to rethink all this and maybe make. I mean, that was the first year that Jeff Brom was at Purdue. Rumors started circulating of him going to Tennessee, I think it was, and then the second year
was that after Pruitt, probably.
I think so, and then
sorry.
No, you're fine. And then I think it was the second year was rumors of Louisville, which was when they hired Satterfield,
right?
And then after however many years, Satterfield's fired, and he's like, I gotta go home, and everyone's kind of like, okay, that's fine.
It's like, yeah, we get it.
But yeah, I think Stoops. I think Stoops is just in an odd spot of get to a bowl and you're probably okay right now. But I don't know if you're kind of right that I don't know if that schedule is going to get you to a bowl or not.
I guess we'll see. That was just a food for thought one that I wanted to put out there while we were still talking ball.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a coach that we were talking about on a hot seat this year, it'd probably be Stoops
within our grouping.
Within our grouping of Miami.
I mean, Satterfield's not that far off.
I don't think he's on a hot seat. I think he would get on a hot seat this year.
Maybe. I feel like we've had this discussion.
Yeah, and then Ryan Day's seat is weirdly always warm despite
if he
winning
loses
a national championship.
If he loses 4 games, he's out.
Yeah,
which is
if he loses like 3,
they
might be.
Yeah, there's people that still really kind of want him gone, even though they just want him to be, which is so crazy.
I'm related to some of them. I know.
All right, before we start,
love you, family.
Yeah, before we start exposing all of your loved ones and their disdain for Ryan Day.
I think some of them don't listen.
Why don't we? Why don't we pivot into the high school?
Let's go over to high
ranks.
school. This I was funny because I was talking to my dad about this a little bit because he on our drive he was asking me like, so what are some of the high school teams that are doing well because he went to Northwest and all that. And I was like, okay, well, we just talked about Cooper and Ryle, and Anderson went to the state championship last year. We're going to kind of watch what Cole Rain does. And, Moeller is still – and he was like, yeah, it was always Moeller, St. X, Elder, LaSalle.
Yep.
He's like, those are just the dominant teams. I'm like, yeah.
And Cole Rain in his day would have been
Yes.
Yes,
it was. But he was like – but I said, I'm really looking forward to this year. Because last year when you went through all these, I was learning everybody for the first time, basically.
Yes.
And now we're kind of at a point where I'm like, oh, yeah, Covcath.
Yeah. It's
Cool.
like, wait a minute. Yeah, like
Beechwood. All right,
we
yeah.
get to see them again. We get, Lloyd's coming back. Like it is really nice that now that we've got our full year under us, and we didn't get to do football previews last year.
No.
And so, like, this is the first time that I get to tee it up, and I get to tee up everything before the season even starts. I don't get that in all the rest of them, which makes me feel bad. But like, whatever.
That was the one thing when we started it was I think we were going into playoffs.
Yeah.
But when we were doing our practice runs, a little look behind the curtain, we did practice runs for this,
Yes.
if you can believe it. But it was every time was always like, oh yeah, here are the teams that are playing, and you kind of had to go through the whole history and break it down a little bit.
Exactly. So now, yeah, we'll be able to set everything up to work and like make it more week by week content wise for football season, which is just it is such a luxury.
Yes.
But all right, I quick recap again. Not doing the Indiana schools because Lawrenceburg and EC play week 1.
Mm-hmm.
That will serve as that. Not doing basically my structure is I took the team of each division or class that I am most interested in seeing before the season starts. Mm-hmm. Because we just talked about Ryle and because we just talked about Cooper, they are going to be our 6A and 5A representatives. So I've got a 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A to talk to you guys about today.
And if you didn't catch last week's episode, you can go back and listen to that to hear the discussion of Cooper and Ryle.
Absolutely, and to hear from a coach that will talk about his team here in a minute.
Yes.
It is a good episode. I would absolutely recommend you check it out after you finish this one. But all right.
Was that last week or 2 weeks ago?
It was last week because I talked to Volker.
No, but I'm saying when you talked about Cooper and Ryle.
Oh, it was the week prior. You're right, because we just talked about Ponatoski and Volker last week. So 2 weeks ago would be your Ryle and your Cooper discussion.
Yes.
Look at you. You got me straightened out there.
Hey, I got me also straightened out. It's all good.
All right. Do we want to start 1A or 4A?
Let's start with 4A.
All right, let's go 4A. Yeah, I guess that makes sense because we've already checked 6 and 5.
Yeah.
All right, so you already mentioned them.
I did.
Covcath.
I'll admit it to you.
Yes.
The word was right in front of me, and
yep.
I went, oh, yeah, Covcath.
Like that's well, hey, and it's a great example. It's a great example of what you were talking about. Last year, they went 11-3, over 37 points per game, 16 allowed. Lost to Franklin County 14-10 in the state semis. Beechwood, a team that we will talk about here in a minute. Covcath owns a win over them, 49-28 last year. And then the big note that I want to make about this team, Highlands lost to them, lost to Ryle to open their season. Highlands was absolutely in contention. They would have been a 5A option, but since we had already talked about Cooper, they kind of wiped that out. So Covcath went undefeated until their state semis loss after those first 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, they had an 11-0 run between losses.
That's solid.
Yeah, they found their mojo, and they lost to 2 very, very talented teams. 2 teams that made a big impact in 5A, the class above them, that year. So very much worth noting, and they have a lot of talent returning.
Okay.
So their starting quarterback, Cash Harney, he's coming back over 1,300 yards, 13 pass touchdowns, almost 1,500 rush yards, and then 19 rush touchdowns. This is a very run-heavy team. They prioritize that. They have their star duo because Dylan Geyser also back, over 1,300 rush yards, 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on defense. So a little two-way star there. Logan Sanning, Zach Brooks, also want to shout them out as well. Each of those guys with 3 interceptions. So 9 picks returning from those 3 dudes alone.
Yeah.
You have the primary engines, so to speak, of your offense. Very, very promising year for Covcath. I think that last year, we talk about it a lot, and we talked about it more on basketball, but where you use this year to set up next year. Or last year.
Last year to set up this year, sure.
Yeah, so when they finished last year, did they want to lose in the state semis? No. But they knew that a lot of the key pieces were coming back, and that experience could help push.
It's kind of like the Ryle and Mollers, where you go, oh, we have juniors that are doing crazy things. We still get one more year with them.
Exactly. Without as much turnover as like a Cooper, because like while we know we have Cam O'Hare, like all the receivers are gone, and like it becomes more of a mess. There is the core importance and like the pillars, if you will, of the Colonel's roster that's coming back for them. So,
exciting.
Yeah.
So what was it? There was something I was going to ask you about this, and I might have blanked it on me.
Sorry. And we can always circle back.
Yeah, because you mentioned the losses to Ryle and Highland. So at this point, like to me, it seems like they kind of stand well and above at their division level.
Yes.
Whereas those, you face a challenge when you make those steps up. Are they going to be playing those teams as well this year?
I use Ryherds to get all my info and stuff. They have not put the 25 schedule out yet.
Sure.
It might be on Max Preps. I did not check it. I guess I should have. But I'm not entirely certain as to what their roster looks like just yet. I just knew that the only game that I know for certain that's week 1 is Lawrenceburg and East Central.
Let me see if I can. And it looks like they're playing Newport Central to open up the year.
Newcath, okay.
They've got Ryle, Elder, Simon Kenton.
Oh, they play Elder?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Dixie Heights, Beechwood, Central, Highlands, Cathedral, Harrison County, Mason County.
Okay. That's a tough first half of it.
Yes, that will be.
Question: are they going to Elder or is it in
at Elder? Yes.
Ooh, in the pit.
Yeah.
I might have to talk to Austin Brisky to send me to that game.
Send you to that game
because I like that a lot. Okay, so there's your 4A representative, the Covington Catholic Cardinals. Yes. Let's move on to who's going to be representing our 3A. Said that name as well already. Lloyd. Yes, the Juggernauts are representing here. They were 9-3 last year. Lost by 1 point to Russell in the second round of the state tournament. 14.3 points allowed per game. And this is just one of the fun stats. I prefer a really good defense. I don't know if you guys figured that out by how much I liked Winton Woods last year.
Yeah.
But Anderson, the ECC just in general. But I love fun defensive stats. And so held opponents to less than 10 4 times. The most they allowed in a single game was Newcath, 27 points. That's just rocks to me.
That's pretty good.
Like that is just so because at the high school level, defense probably shouldn't be that good. Mm-hmm. It's like because you got a lot of undersized dudes. Like you're not pick of the litter colleges and NFLs where it's like, oh yeah, I'll take this 6'3", 320-pound guy to fill the interior. Like a lot of times it's dudes that aren't that dissimilar size to us that are trying to plug that up, and they still found a way. My big question, and part of the reason I'm very interested in seeing how their season unfolds and why they got this nod, was because their top 3 rushers, top receiver, joint top tackler, and 16 of the team's 20 interceptions is leaving.
Okay.
All of those have graduated. So that is a ton of production that you have to replace. Fortunately, there are still plenty of guys there that I have faith in, but we have to see those numbers tick up.
Sure.
Quarterback Caleb Evans, you don't have to worry about that one. He's coming back for senior year, over 2,000 pass yards, 24 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. Efficient king. Gets it done. Colton Barger, and hopefully I'm saying that last name right, he is just a sophomore.
Okay.
Or maybe I messed that up and he's rising junior. Either way, he had over 400 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. Lincoln Tomlinson had 107 tackles last year, which is just absurd. 19 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and an interception. He whenever I said joint tackler, this is why that guy wasn't the leading tackler.
Yeah.
107 will do the trick. And I believe he led the team in tackles for losses as well.
Okay.
And then Elijah Griffin, our 3 interception streak continues. I don't know how that was the magic number for so many of these guys, but he had 3 of those as well, returning for his senior year.
Both those guys are sophomores.
Like
that you mentioned.
Last year they were sophomores?
No, this year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
That's because I'll say this, like for Colton, that's not crazy numbers.
No,
for a wide receiver,
but 400 yards as a freshman is
Yeah. And 5 touchdowns?
Yeah.
You take that any day as a coach.
Twice on Sundays. Like, that's, yeah, he's.
3 times on Fridays.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're talking my language. But yeah, it's a very interesting core. They feel kind of in the middle of 2 classes.
Yes.
You know, you've got your seniors and your sophomores.
That's the one thing that I was going to kind of mention is, and I feel like we're seeing that with a lot of teams where it's the senior year for a quarterback. We'll exclude Ryle from that list.
Yes.
But it's the senior year for a quarterback who might have lost the pieces of offense that he was depending on. And so it's going to be interesting to me how quickly all these guys are able to get in a game groove together if they don't have that extended experience. Obviously there's going to be some there's some senior quarterbacks who are like, yeah, I've been throwing to this guy since he was a freshman.
Right.
And he's a junior now, that's fine, like type thing. But, you only have 1 year with Colton and a limited amount, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think it will just be interesting to see how that
development
passer
continues.
to receiver connection develops.
Well, and I think a lot of times it works out in a very advantageous way because a lot of teams will find the quarterback the guy that they think is their quarterback for the next 2 or 3 and try to get them in as sophomores or juniors, at least to have that little bit of window. So like in Caleb Evans' situation, whenever he was a junior, he had so much talent to work around him and be like, hey, this is kind of what we need. So that way he can teach the next wave of guys how to do it, like the skill group.
Yes.
And then that skill group can teach the quarterback after him, and it just becomes this, somebody on the staff always knows what's happening.
Exactly. Yes.
And so you almost kind of need that stagger, but we're not used to seeing it in such a wide distance. You know what I mean? Like from senior to sophomore, usually it's senior to junior, junior to senior.
Yes. That's very true.
Yes. All right, now let's go to the only reigning champion in the Tri-State from last year.
Crazy.
I know. And we had a lot of good football.
We had a lot of teams that were in the
state
finals.
Yeah.
Too, yeah.
We had Moeller out there. We had Anderson. Like it was crazy. But Beechwood managed to stand alone. Like I said, reigning and defending. Head coach Jay Volker, 2 chips, 2 years with the Tigers, 14-1, 47 points per game. And then 4 games over 60 points. Volker's good at offense. Yes. And he's got a real interesting route ahead of him. Because obviously I got to talk to him, like we said. Make sure to go listen to that. There is a lot of graduating talent from last year. There's going to be a lot to build. Something that he kind of was harping on a little bit and was very excited about. Tyler Fryman.
Yes.
The Louisville baseball commit has offers from Louisville and Indy football, Notre Dame. Only had 300 receiving yards last year, 4 touchdowns. But based on how Coach was talking, feel pretty good about saying that he's going to be a very elevated, person in how this is all going to unfold.
For sure.
Bo Souter, 37 tackles, 13 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks last year. Nathan Pabst, 3 picks, 2 pick sixes. So Beechwood is very much a grab bag of like, I have no idea what this team's going to look like even after talking to Coach Volker.
Sure.
I'm still like, I'm going to have to see it play out. I'll have to see it with my own eyes before I really understand it. But you can't not put the reigning and defending, with a Louisville football offer out there.
Let me ask you this: who's the next closest in 2A to like drawing your attention? Do you have somebody off the top of your head?
I wish I had a shortlisted.
Okay.
But I can go back here.
But I know I'll fill for a minute just only because listening to him talk about this team last year, talk about this team last week for this year.
Yeah.
He said, there's a lot of key pieces from that team that graduated, moving on, things like that. And so, you mentioned Tyler Fryman. He had some influence, but obviously is going to need to make a big step up. It kind of sounded like he's been working on that in practice and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's why I was only kind of wondering, is there somebody that sat right on that edge underneath?
We really don't have that much 2A representation.
Okay.
Because where we're at, we have large enough populations that the
Districts,
schools
things
don't
like
get that small.
Yes.
So like just in terms of pure record, without really having studied the roster by any means, Walton Verona would be the second highest on the wins-lost record, and they were 5-6 last year. So it is kind of a wider breadth.
That's fine.
But either way, it will be very interesting to see, because this is like, not to say that Volker hasn't had to put in a lot of work to maintain and win and all that.
For sure.
But he did inherit a very, very good program from Noel Rash.
Yes.
And so this is kind of the first time that it's going to be his fingerprints and like truly like phased out just his regime's guys. Mm-hmm. You know, and especially with these juniors, like a lot of these juniors were freshmen when he started. Yeah. And Noel Rash wouldn't have been able to work with them that much. So it'll be very interesting to see how year 3 goes for Coach Volker.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll be keeping an eye on that.
Absolutely.
Very well.
Absolutely. And then so we'll round out
with the 1A.
Yep, my list of 4s with the Newport Central Catholic, New Cath, Thoroughbreds.
Okay.
Now you'll remember I don't want to say that I was rooting on their downfall, but I was very excited for the possibility that Newport could beat them, because New Cath has beat Newport like 20-something odd years in a row.
I do remember you saying that.
And it was not because I don't like New Cath or want their success. It was just because I like to see history broken. Regardless, both are 1A schools. I am going with New Cath in this spot. 9-4 last year. Lost to Campbellsville 27-24 in the state quarterfinal. Okay. 37 points per game, 15 allowed per game. 6 games of 8 points or less allowed. 3 shutouts. And then a couple very notable wins. Lloyd, who we've already talked about, they beat them by 13. And then, like we said, the Newport game, they won that by 28.
Okay.
So, yes. The big player that I want to mention before we get into the returning stars is Caleb Cole. I would argue the most vital piece of their offense last year. Mm-hmm. He is a senior, or was a senior, graduated over 1,100 yards, 24 touchdowns. You're going to have to figure out a way to replace that. Yep. I do have a name that I'd like to keep an eye on, but that's the 24 touchdowns is a very big ask of anyone. Good news is they do have their quarterback position secured still. Emmanuel Miles returning, almost 1,500 pass yards, 19 touchdowns, 3 picks. Eddie Bivens is the guy that I'm keeping my eye on to be the next running back, or the successor, I guess, to Caleb Cole. Mm-hmm. He is a senior, though, so it is kind of, it'll be tough because they'll have to do it again the year after. 440 rush yards, 4 touchdowns, and then 3 interceptions as a defender. Graydon Shermer, probably the focal point in terms of returning talent, over 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then Max Meyer, 78 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, a sack, a pick, a fumble recovery, and then he also had 115 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. So his value primarily on defense, but could see him step up on that offensive side as well. Yeah. A very interesting team, a very talented team, a multifaceted team for sure. Like, if it wasn't the defense winning, it was the offense winning it for them. Like, and they could rotate. And they are returning a lot of talent, but when you lose a running back as talented as Cole, you do have to kind of hold your breath a little bit. Mm-hmm. So that would be and, hey, maybe Newport can give them a run for their money.
I will say, looking at the Max Preps schedule, they aren't scheduled to play Newport.
Really?
Yeah. It's Ludlow, Covington, Cath, Lloyd, Beechwood, Boone County, Connor, Raceland, Campbell County, Bellevue.
What in the world?
Yeah.
That feels sacrilegious.
I know. And Bellevue has a asterisk next to it.
I'm hoping.
I don't know what that's about.
I don't either.
But
I'm hoping Max Preps is wrong. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend the rest of my day hoping Max Preps is incorrect.
We're going to blame the
man.
Am I wrong? No, it must be Max Preps.
Well, I spent plenty of time on this podcast getting fired up about the KHSAA, so I'm not going to go back into that well. But but yeah, so those are the 4 primary teams that we hadn't already talked about with the other 2 that I think you should be watching in each classification.
And like you said, this was Kentucky.
Yes.
So we're moving into Ohio from here, and then we'll touch on Indiana the first week. So do you want to go ahead and tell the listeners who or what conferences they can expect next week.
You know what?
Ohio.
I hadn't decided, but I will just go ahead and
Pick?
Yeah. Let's go with ECC and SWAC.
ECC and SWAC.
Yes.
All right.
That'll be who I'll do next week. It was that or the GCL groups. It was either going to be that or it was going to be the GCL South and co-ed.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll go ECC and SWAC because that'll be interesting. And that because we talked about Anderson and Winton Woods in this episode, so ECC was top of mind.
Yeah, and just a reminder, we are 4 weeks away?
5, I believe. It's August 20.
I thought it was the 15th.
From the first week.
Yeah.
It's 22nd.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
unless there's a 0 week
5
that
weeks
I'm
away.
being stupid about, but
but football's coming back.
it is.
We're almost a month away.
Finally.
So.
We're almost there. And we get to talk about it the rest of the way home anyway, so it works itself out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brad, why don't you tell them where they can listen to us as we continue to get ready for the football season?
Well, you can be sure to subscribe on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can get these episodes and episodes of The Gold Standard with Joe Danneman and Charlie Goldsmith every week sent directly to your phone. And then you can choose to download it. We're not like the U2 album from way back when. Yeah, that was a callback.
That was fantastic. No, it was not in the slightest. That was fantastic, Brad.
And if for some reason you want to see our beautiful faces, you can also watch the video version. That is on the Fox 19 Now website, the Fox 19 Now Sports app, and the Fox 19 Now YouTube page. Yes, there's a whole playlist and podcast section specifically with us, also with Jessica Schmidt's Crime Bowl.
Beyond the broadcast.
And then you can also catch the episodes of Gold Standard on there as well.
Yes.
We
have what I believe is something new coming, but I'm not going to say what it is because it hasn't been announced, and I'm not going to be the one to do it.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I do, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So I'll double check when we wrap this up here.
Yeah.
But that is all that we have for this week. And enjoy that little teaser. Maybe we'll mention it next week.
That cryptic nothingness that I just whispered into the mic.
But enjoy your cryptic. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Have a good one.